Hello fellow cinephiles, Film Guru here. So I'm going to start to do reviews based upon classic noir films. More of a subgenre, I think it should be, is the private detective films. These are within the noir world, but they have their own sort of feel and look, and they are done in a particular way. And I want to start to review these sort of films. A lot of them are based on Dashiell Hammett novels and Raymond Chandler, and this is the areas and characters I like, the Philip Marlowes and the Sam Spades that are created by these classic written novels. So I want to start to review sort of private detective films. So the first one I've chosen to do today is Out of the Past. Now this was directed by Jacques Tourneur, who was a French filmmaker who'd done a lot of American film, and this being one of them. It was made in 1948, and it starred Robert Mitchum, Gina Greer, and Kirk Douglas. And it was the story of Jeff Bailey, a man who works and runs a service station in a small town, who has a mysterious past. Not a lot of people know who he is or where he's come from. He begins a romance with a local girl there, and she doesn't know a lot about him either. Then, like out of nowhere, a man from his past appears, asking for him to go with him to see the man he used to work for. He's reluctant to do this, but decides to go anyway. So he takes his new girlfriend with him, and along the way he reveals who he is and his past and where he's come from and who he truly is. And through classic detective sort of style film, he starts to tell his story, and we get to see it through flashbacks. And we learn that he used to be a private detective, and he was hired by sort of a gangster played by Kirk Douglas to find his girlfriend who'd taken off with $40,000 after shooting him. So he takes on the case and goes to find her. Ultimately he does find her, and then he's sort of manipulated by her and blown away by her, and a romance begins between these two. And it doesn't go according to plan like most of these sort of films. His partner is subsequently killed, and the girl, Katie, played by Jean Greer, disappears. And he's sort of left floundering around, not knowing what to do, and then, disappears and obviously becomes a mechanic, and obviously opens a service station in this small town to escape his past. He's dropped off at this particular mansion where we meet the Kirk Douglas character once more, and we realise that Katie has returned to him, and he is asked by Kirk Douglas's character to do another job for him. Try and get this book and this information regarding tax evasion. And he wants him to recover this sort of thing. He finds out that he's in a frame-up, and they're trying to frame him for something. Like in most movies, he doesn't escape this. He sort of accepts it and goes on the journey with it. He's a very highly intelligent character and plays everything, just goes with what is. And it's kind of interesting to see and how it unfolds. And this all leads to a shocking and slightly surprising ending. Look, I'm a huge fan of this genre. This noir, private detective stuff. And Mitchum is really fantastic here and plays the character so well. He's very smart and knows what's happening. He never stresses or panics. He just goes with what is, and he tries to work out what's happening and to try and be a few steps in front of the bad guys to try and get himself out of these sort of circumstances. What I really loved most about this was the way it was shot. It felt like those sort of films of that era, and they talk about this is Jacques' best film, and I haven't seen a lot of his other movies to compare it to, but I was really impressed with what I saw here. It was really well written characters. Jane Greer character Katie, who's the femme fatale of the film, is really brilliant here. Is one of the best written female villains I've seen in this sort of genre, and the way she bounces off Robert Mitchum is really, really fantastic as well. Kirk Douglas is Kirk Douglas. If you've seen him in one movie, you've seen him in sort of many. He plays a similar character, and he sort of does that in this. He's sort of likeable, but a bit of a scumbag. I love the use of the voiceover, I love the look of it, I love the feel of the film. It's very impressive what they're able to accomplish here. And I would put it up there with like The Big Sleep and Maltese Falcon. I just think this is a really well written and smart film. The way it's executed, the way it's made, the actors, the acting in it, the storyline, everything's really fantastic, and I think it does a really sort of great job. Jacques is a really fascinating filmmaker, and I'd like to see a lot more of his movies. There's just something about these films I like. I like the mystery to it, where you're trying to work out what's going on. I like the fun and interesting characters. The storylines are usually basic, They're searching for someone missing, there's been a robbery, a homicide, whatever. But it's really the characters that make this sort of an interesting film that draw you in. They're the eyes you see the world through, and these are the characters you go on the journey with. And there's been a lot of femme fatales in these sort of films, but I just think Jane Greer is really, really great in this and does a really fantastic job. And when she twists and turns, when she switches from side to side, to good and bad, you sort of see it, and you get to, and she sort of moves the storyline along with that, which I think is a really fantastic ability as an actress and the character, the way the character's written. Look, final verdict, I think this is a really fun and entertaining film. It's very well done, very well written, the acting's really good, and it fits really well and fantastically within that private detective realm and storyline. And if you like those sort of things, you might enjoy it. If you're a fan of these detective noir films, you might really thoroughly enjoy it. If you're not a fan of these sort of characters or this storyline, you may not enjoy it as much. But I don't think it's a thing for everyone. There's a particular audience for it who like these sort of detective things, and they will get a lot out of it. Look, I'm going to give this film 4 out of 5. Anyway, that's all for me today. So I'm going to continue on doing these private detective sort of noir film reviews, and I will be revisiting A Big Sleep and Maltese Falcon and a few others along the way, and doing a lot of reviews based upon those sort of films. Anyway, that's all from me today. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed what you've heard here, please hit subscribe down the bottom. Otherwise, until next time, enjoy the movies.